So a pause, seemingly, for the time being. What is the potential of this going back to a flare-up situation?
I mean, I'd say reasonably high. What's not clear is the reasons behind the pause, and then that informs kind of our thoughts about what might happen going forward. So we don't know exactly why. We can make a reasonable guess, though, that at least in part it is concerns that are twofold. One, they had 13 consecutive nights of attacks on Iran, and yet that didn't really seem to diminish Iran's ability to threaten shipping. We saw attacks on ships throughout that period, including at the end. So it didn't seem to be getting very far. Number two, there is a serious issue here with US defensive munitions. They're having to draw from stockpiles in Europe and in Asia to keep those going. They are very effective, but they're not infinite. And given that Iran seemingly has an almost bottomless supply of things like drones, you've got this imbalance there between the US ability to defend against those, as well as Iran's willingness to launch more and more of them. So that's maybe one part of it. The second part of it is, as you said, there's these talks that happen between Oman and Iran. Maybe there's some headway being made there in terms of resolving some sort of authority or a series of authorities over Hormuz. And I think if they can resolve that, that's at least part of the way there.
And that was going to be my second question, right? We've reported that the deputy foreign ministers have met. The delegation left on Saturday. And then what we see in the Strait of Hormuz is a blockade still at play despite the pause, essentially, by the United States on the attacks. What is the status of the movement right now in the Strait of Hormuz?
So, I mean, I think the issue really stems from what Iran sees as its position on this. So it points to its interpretation of the MOU that they signed in June, which, according to Iran, gives it sole authority over Hormuz. What seems to be happening now is some discussion with Oman about maybe a joint authority, or you have two different routes going through there, a northern route and a southern route. Maybe they're controlled by the two littoral states. There's some financial arrangement around that. Again, that's all very vague. So that seems to be the direction of travel, but we're not getting details, so hard to know.
Yeah, not getting details yet.